Hey everybody, welcome outside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. The weather is cooling down and the bold predictions are heating up.
Oh, no.
What a great...
Oh no, Dad.
I know, we did it. That's how much fun we're gonna have on this one. It's Spencer Holbrook, Zach Carpenter, Jeremy Birmingham, and me, the king of bold predictions, Austin Ward. Ohio State and Penn State, 7:30 on Saturday night. It is a scarlet out in the horseshoe. It doesn't really roll off the tongue the way that a whiteout does, but Ohio State trying to return the favor with a juiced up atmosphere for Penn State. It always seems to work out the other way. Ohio State gets a hostile environment. So, Berm, what's going to happen?
I'll go first.
What?
I'll go first because Berm, last week, when I was explaining my second bold prediction, he just basically gave me a bunch of
stuff. Yeah.
Schnikes. Yeah. Gave me a bunch of schnikes for how dumb it was for the second half bold prediction where they would finish in the top 60 in passing yards allowed and less than 200 passing yards allowed against Indiana. What happened, Berm? They gave up 80 passing yards against Indiana last week.
Good job.
So,
wow.
Boom.
So
they went from 103rd in the country to 73rd in one game.
I thought you were making a prediction for this week.
So this prediction,
okay.
I'm going to start off a little strong. I know none of you guys will have this.
Oh, wow.
I know none of you guys will have this, so I could have saved this for the end.
For certain.
But let me paint you a picture, all right? 2 years ago, Evan Pryor in 2019 came to the Penn State game. Rain's coming down.
Rain is coming down.
He goes, he watches them in the biggest game of the year, beat Penn State.
I can picture it, yeah.
And that was the final cherry on top, one of them, for him to commit to Ohio State.
I was there.
And we were there. 2 years later, Evan Pryor, and you can use this, you can use that in the narrative for the story you're going to write this week.
Okay.
When Evan Pryor gets his first 100-yard rushing game of his career.
Woo, doggies.
All it's going to take is 2 explosive plays in the third or fourth quarter, and bang, we're there.
All right. I guess he was right. No one else was going to have that one.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it does help that Marcus Crowley is out for the season.
Exactly.
Master Teague missed last week's game at Indiana. Still might not be all the way back to 100%. So
Ryan Williams looked a little gimpy again at times.
Yeah, I don't think he was at 100%. So, wow.
Thanks for crushing my bold prediction and helping me out.
I'm just going to help
drill down.
I'm just going to help drill it down,
baby.
And we've got Evan Pryor. I didn't think that would be the first one for sure.
For sure. Spencer,
no, you're up.
No, I refuse.
Okay, we've officially lost control of the whole show.
Okay. All right. Well,
okay.
Let's go with 6 Ohio State sacks.
Oh, very original.
Yeah, no, Oh, you had 6 last week. Let's go 7 then.
Okay.
How about that? 7 Ohio State sacks.
What about 20?
This Penn State offensive line is not that great, and Sean Clifford is immobile with his injuries.
Not that great seems like the understatement of the show.
It's
their booty.
I absolutely do not expect him to be 100% like he's, for some reason, saying he's going to be. Absolutely, that is not true. And Ohio State's starting to get after it. And no matter where it comes from, whether that's the defensive tackles, the defensive ends, this team is on a mission to start bringing the quarterback down. You know, I'm not going to predict like an injury or anything. I'll be surprised if Sean Clifford finishes this game, though. I don't think he's anywhere near 100%.
How many percentage was he last week? That's what I'd like to know.
Like 72.3, probably a little less.
Number, given that this is how many percents he is?
If that's the best option they have, is an injured Sean Clifford.
Unfortunately,
instead of
it is.
Roberson, we're filming this on Wednesday, everyone. Roberson didn't practice on Wednesday for Penn State, and he wasn't even there. So maybe he's entering the transfer portal or something crazy. Who knows? That's definitely not a prediction, but I'm just saying, like, you don't know.
Bold prediction number 1 is for Penn State.
All right. The kid's not even there. Clearly, it's going to be Clifford's party, and he'll cry if he wants to. And I think that what you're saying,
Dr. Holbrook,
is that Dr. Holbrook is suggesting he's definitely going to cry.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Okay. He admits it, everyone.
That was the prediction.
One's going to be.
That took us on a winding journey from 6 to 7 sacks to tears. I love it.
It's like Verm eating wings.
Wow, what a great full circle.
Wait a second. What's your flavor of wings?
Bold prediction, Verm.
What is it, like ginger garlic?
Bold prediction, Verm.
Give me a break.
We're already at the 10-minute mark here. Let's go.
Mr. Soft Tummy over there.
I need the honey gold. Give me a break.
Every wing flavor at Roosters is delicious.
Okay, so bold prediction number 1 is 250 rushing yards for Travion Henderson. Because you were right last week. We were talking about the game.
Go on.
We were talking about the game, and you said, "I think you're a week. I think you're a week early on the Travion Henderson prediction of another huge game." I think this is the right week for it because Penn State's defensive tackles are out and distraught.
Are they crying?
They got physically just manhandled by Illinois. And I know Ohio State's going to try to pass the ball, where Illinois basically said we're not even going to do that at all and probably had 8 linemen on the field at all times. But TreVeyon Henderson is just so freaking good, man. Like, the kid is really special. I think that we're going to see the first time he gets, and this is the other part of the bowl prediction, 25 carries for TreVeyon Henderson.
Okay. A twofer?
A twofer.
I will just expand it and take what both of you said. I think Ohio State is going to run for 450 yards in this game.
That's a lot of yards.
Penn State will be more committed to trying to take away the pass from Ohio State. And they are not good whatsoever.
They're better
up
equipped
front.
at that.
They're much better equipped to do that. And I think back to the game 2 years ago. I'm going to take another page out of Zach's book for this one. And the whole build up to that massive showdown was, man, Penn State's defensive front, their front seven is so good. It's the best run defense in America. Oh my God, how is Ohio State going to handle this? And Ryan Day said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come out.
First drive.
I'm going to run it 9 straight times all the way down to that end zone. I'm going to punch it in, and I'm going to eliminate that storyline from here on out. That's that assassin part of him that we always talk about, that competitiveness, that edge that pops out on Saturday. You talk about something like that, he is instantly going to prove that he's got a team that can take advantage of other opponents' strengths and neutralize it. He did that right from the bat. It set up the tone for that whole game. 450 rushing yards for Ohio State.
So basically, on my drive over here, when I was thinking about bowl predictions, basically everything that Spencer said was going to be one of my bowl predictions. 6 sacks and the entire Sean Clifford being immobile, all that I agree with. I was going to do some sort of TreVeyon Henderson, a huge game, but we do one of those every week, and I knew Berm was going to take that too. So just try to help out my teammates, you know. And speaking of helping out teammates, there's a lot of defensive players right now who are really taking a bigger role, all coming together. You saw it last week, 54-7 on the defense, only 7 points allowed. And Spencer asked this question, I believe it was you, in the press conference yesterday, about that opening drive. It feels like every game Ohio State allows either on the first or second drive a touchdown. I think that's going to happen. Penn State's going to score on the first or second drive, and over the next 3 quarters, Ohio State shuts Penn State out.
A three-quarter
three-quarter aggregate shutout.
Okay. Interesting.
All right. I'll take bold prediction number 2. Austin, I'm actually going to go on the other side of the coin that you're using here. Ohio State's going to throw the ball for 300 yards in the first half.
Okay.
Because if there's one strength of Penn State's team, it's the secondary. And if there's one thing Ryan Day likes to do, it's to take whatever your strength is and break it and then beat you the rest of the game.
Using my own prediction against me.
So this was going to be...
Stop hitting yourself.
This was going to be one of mine regardless of what anyone said. Ryan Day loves to find those strengths.
Yes, he does.
And then he takes whatever your strength is, writes it on a piece of paper.
A wise man just said exactly this, I think.
But he takes it on a piece of paper, crumples it up, and puts it in your mouth. It's like, chew on that.
Wow.
Take the shot. And then put you in the trunk.
I know it's like 50 degrees out here, but I'm sweating a little bit now.
I just remember, like you said, last year or 2 years ago, that entire buildup was about the Penn State run defense. The Penn State safeties, he named them by name. He does not name opponents, individual players very often. He knows what they have in that secondary. He knows that it's their strength. And if you can break the strength to begin the game, it's going to be a long day for the visitors.
Interesting.
Especially in the big house that James Franklin's playing in. And so...
Well, if they go to the big house, then the score will be 100-0.
So I just think that 300 passing yards in the first half. C.J. Stroud is going to come out of this game, officially, punched with his ticket to New York. And I think that 300 yards passing in the first half is something that's achievable, and it might even go beyond that.
Okay. We're talking about Ryan Day.
We are, yeah.
Do you know that Ohio State, since the decision to switch defensive play callers, is the 15th best defense in the country?
You don't say.
That's pretty good.
That's
pretty good.
It's a good little
and I think that Ryan Day knows who the offensive coordinator is for Penn State.
You don't say.
Mike Yursich, who, if you recall, was a offensive coordinator at Ohio State 2 years ago.
Is that true?
True. You can look it up on the internet.
Okay.
Did
they get along famously?
They famously did get along. Mike Yursich has a commitment from a quarterback in the class of 2022. He's from Ohio, who's the #1 ranked quarterback in the country.
What's his name?
His name is Drew Aller. And what better way for Ohio State, in a game that Aller certainly will be watching at home, he's not going to be watching it from the stadium.
Imagine if he didn't.
Weird, for Penn State if he did, but it'd be good for Ohio State. But what better
Why
way,
wouldn't he, though? He could take his visit and see the team he's committed to.
What better way to say, why
Sorry, I
would
thought
you
the
want
pop
to
quiz
do
was
this?
still going on.
Why would you want to do
Pop quiz
this
knows.
when you can do this? And I think you're going to see a real...
Do you think that James Franklin told him not to come?
Yes. But also that's irrelevant, neither here nor there. The point is, you're going to see the Buckeye defense play around with Mike Yursich because there's really one weapon on offense for Penn State, and that's Jahan Dotson. That's pretty much it. I think you're going to see him get some, but I think you're going to see 4 Ohio State interceptions. Wow. 4 Ohio State interceptions. 2 by Seven Banks.
Good athlete.
2 by Seven Banks.
That was a winding journey.
1 by Ronnie Hickman. And 1, get this, by Zach Harrison.
Whoa, buddy!
You know what
Glad
we
I
call
hung
that?
in there.
You know what we call that? Drill down.
Drill down. Huh. I think
Follow that up.
Steel Chambers will play his highest volume of snaps, will prove that he is the best linebacker on this team, and he will have 13 tackles in this game for Ohio State and will become a surprise mid-season All-American candidate at linebacker.
Well, if you can start playing in the 5th game and become a Heisman finalist,
He's taking the Caleb
then-
Williams Heisman Trophy path to become a potential Butt-Kiss Award. It's too late. He can't be one of those.
Yeah.
I think I'm amazed. We've talked about his potential to be a linebacker for a long time, but it's still another thing to actually make that switch over from offense to defense, and then in 2 months' time become, as good as a senior in Taraja Mitchell, as productive as a 4-star recruits like Tommy Eichenberg and Cody Simon. The guy has helped change Ohio State's defense. So Steel Chambers will have 13 tackles, 3 for a loss, and I think he he's gonna recover a fumble and score a touchdown.
It's not going to surprise.
Well,
I mean, I would be
just
stunned,
there.
honestly, if he wasn't an All-American at least next year. But I think that could happen this year.
Yeah,
So-
well,
I
you just
don't
heard
know.
it here
Ohio
first
State's
on both
losing their
predictions.
running back. Ohio State's losing their running back step. Maybe they move Steel Chambers back to running back.
It's true.
Yeah.
Third bowl.
That's
Think about that.
I'm gonna drill it way down. He will not return to running back.
Zach, you're third
You guys,
one. Let's hear it.
I hear you guys saying a lot of defensive players. One guy I didn't hear, as I'm trying to rack my brain and come up with
I
one
bet
more.
it's Court Williams.
It's not. That's
Jackson
not it.
Smith and Jigba.
No. Yeah, speaking of defensive players, Jackson Smith and Jigbud.
Nailed it.
20 catches. Craig Young.
20.
No, my bold prediction is Craig Young gets an interception and a sack fumble.
Oh.
Forces a sack fumble.
Okay.
So, I know last week they're starting to carve out role for him, right? Where they're kind of getting him closer to the line, maybe use him more as an edge rusher a little bit, trying to use his unique athleticism and his size as a weapon on the defense. I think this could be a game where we sort of see that role take off a little bit and see him sort of break out.
For those of you that have never gone through like couples counseling, this is a method here. So what I'm hearing you say is that Ohio State is going to be up so big that Craig Young is going to play a lot in the second half.
Yes. That's I think it's going to be something like 35-3 going into the fourth quarter, or
that's
35-7.
35.
Well, we're not on to score predictions yet, Zach.
Okay, well, I want to jump the gun. That's what I love doing. So, all right, I'll save it.
Slow down.
He only said through 3 quarters, okay, Berm?
Oh, okay.
What I'm
I didn't
hearing
give
you
a final
say
score.
is that you two need to cool it.
All right. Spencer, what's your third prediction?
My third bold
I'm
prediction.
glad you're between us.
My third bold prediction is Denzel Burke holds Jahan Dotson under 3 catches. Denzel Burke is very, very good. He slipped on the field last week, gave up, was out of position and gave up a catch. That's very uncommon for a guy like him.
That field was slippery.
Slipped
though.
on
Yeah,
the turf
it
at
was.
not Ohio Stadium?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that turf.
Oh.
this
Indiana's
Saturday
turf
in the
is
rain.
far, far, far worse than Ohio State.
So
In the rain on Saturday night.
So is
in
their
Horseshoe,
offense and
it's gonna be
defense.
slippery.
True.
what I'm trying to say
Oh,
here
great point.
is Sean Clifford obviously is not 100%. I've established that. James Franklin's head
Dr.
is not in
Holbrook
the
said.
game. Mike Yursich is not the best at what he does, despite what some may tell you.
But you're the best at what you do.
And Jahan Dotson, Ohio State, when they have these games where somebody torches them a year before, there's an effort there to shut the other, shut them down the next time. And I think there's a challenge delivered to this team about Jahan
I
Dotson.
think people heard that one.
So I think there's a challenge.
Challenge to Chris Olave as well.
To this team about Jahan Dotson. I think Denzel Burke does a good job of blanketing him, whether you put a safety over with him. Maybe that becomes a Parker Washington game where he gets a little bit in the slot, but Jahan Dotson's not going to be a factor in this game. That's my third bold prediction.
Okay. Let's just dive in here. We're going to go 175 yards receiving for Chris Olave.
Exactly?
175 yards.
Exactly.
Ooh.
9 catches, 175 yards or more, and 3 touchdowns.
Oh,
No, that was going to be so bold.
I thought the caveat wasn't going to come.
No. 175 plus 9 catches and 3 scores.
A third of his catches are going to be touchdowns.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't want everyone to think that I'm getting complacent with my bold predictions.
There we go.
So I did a little bit of research for my third bold prediction this week.
Okay.
Penn State, Jordan Stout, I believe is his name.
Kicker?
He's the punter.
Uh-huh.
He leads the Big Ten by forcing 18 fair catches, guys.
Nice work.
18.
Wow.
Good work if you can get it.
Penn State is second in the league covering punts. Very good.
Normally good.
These are all good. These are all good things.
All really great stats.
So that makes it very interesting.
So how would you counter that?
Well, I would just return one for a touchdown.
You would return one for a touchdown. It doesn't matter how good you are. Jordan Stout or whatever your name was, if I forgot it.
You just make that name
Play the
up?
role
No, I'm pretty sure that's not.
Jordan's been pretty stout, so to speak.
Actually, I don't think Ohio State's going to return a punt for a touchdown in this game because of those reasons. So, just to drill down, this week, the streak will continue. There will not be a punt return for a touchdown. Doesn't sound bold, but if you watch the show every week, you know that it really is. You have score predictions?
42-10.
Okay.
This is going to be a bad game, a bad time for the visiting team. I think this game is something like 52 to 20. Let's go 52 to 20. I would love to see a great game because I think this game had all the makings of a great game. But you've got a coach with 1 foot out the door, you've got a quarterback that's hobbled, you've got a defense that can't stop Ohio State.
Ohio State 48, Penn State 31.
Oh, wow.
31.
That many points.
Yeah. I think it's going to be one of those nights.
He must believe that Sean Clifford's somewhere more like 80 to
there's-
90%
I
than
think that
100%.
Penn State has a lot of really good athletes, and they are competitive. They are a competitive group. They got embarrassed a week ago and losing to Illinois, not just because they lost, but because of the way they played. And they've heard all week now as the stuff about their coach and his flighty responses on Tuesday in the press conference. I just think that they're going to be a lot more prepared to play than people are giving them credit.
I'm sure they're super excited to play for this guy who thinks that they're going to the big house to play Illinois this week.
Well,
That's a guy you can definitely buy
that's
into.
neither here nor there. 49-31, Buckeyes win and cover.
It was 48 a second ago.
I've just added a point. So,
That's such a great point that you
what are
added
you gonna
another
do
one.
about it?
Ohio,
51-21. She's going to do what Austin does and just name like a bunch of scores.
That's
So that
that's a good strategy,
if
though,
I get
by
it
him.
right, I can be like, oh yeah, but the last one I said.
well, if the last
48-31.
the last one is my final prediction, that's obviously what I work on throughout the week. It's not my fault that you ask me every day of the week what the score is going to
What's the
be.
score going to be?
52-16, Ohio State.
16.
16, that's
odd
right.
Score number.
Well,
Is it a safety
Penn
or
State
a
just
result of three
Penn State
field
just
goals?
practiced a bunch of 2-point conversion plays last week, so they know what works and what doesn't work. Most of them don't work, spoiler. But I think that James Frank will just try and roll the dice, force the issue, and he's going to score 8 2-point conversions. Is what's going to happen. That's
pretty tough to do.
I know.
Impossible,
barely
some
sc-
people
He
say.
could
but
barely score one last week.
If anyone can do it, it's
That's how much faith I have in James Franklin. Just a real magician on the
so
sidelines.
you said 48-31.
That was you. I would never make such a foolish prediction.
All right, I'm leaving. Bye.
That's bold predictions. That's Spencer Holbrook, Zach Carpenter, Jeremy Birmingham. I'm Austin Ward. All these are guaranteed to be bold predictions. I don't know what will actually happen. Stay tuned for full coverage of that on Saturday night at Lettermen Row.